Hello, everyone. This is Ambassador L.F. Craig, aka Craig, Miss Craig, whatever. This is probably going to be a little lengthy post because this is something that just on my mind, and not that I'm troubled, and I know that probably some will say, well, you need to just let it go and move on. But I'm not going to let it go. But I am going to move on. And there's a lot to come. This is just the beginning. I've seen a lot since 2009 in education. And I've served with 6 principals and different administrators, and it's not just Texans Can or charter schools. It's public education as a whole. I worked with MHMR Tarrant County from 2004 for about 3 years, and I was a service coordinator, and I was the liaison for the students in special ed. In the public schools system, you really have to have someone advocating for you to get the services that you are entitled to. And then I moved into clinic work, and because I just want to say this, education was not my field of study. When I got into working in education, I was actually in my dream job. I was moving in the direction that I had chosen for myself, that I thought that's where God was taking me. I had just gotten my own office, and I was facilitating a dual diagnosis group twice a week. And I had received a sponsorship to pay for my internship, 3,000 hours toward my LPC. Where I was working was going to sponsor me. Those of you that know the field know that 3,000 hours is a lot of free work to have to do for someone and still have income to provide for your family. And so I was in my dream job, going toward where I wanted to go, because it is my career life calling to be a psychotherapist, because I dealt with mental health and mental illness, and that's my field of study. And out of the blue, got the call to come and interview for a position that I had not actually applied for, and did the interview and went ahead and accepted the job. So 9 years later, here I am. I've learned a lot, and I've seen a lot of people go away quietly in the night, even seeing the changes that need to be made, because education is a broken system, just like traditional church is a broken system. The establishment is never going to change it, even though they know it's broken. A lot of things, and what grieves me is there's teachers who really have a heart for the students. Not to say, and I think that there's both needed. Charter schools, public schools, private schools. Our children need to be educated, but sometimes the student-centered part of education gets in the way when those at the top are data-driven. And this has been voiced by several educators across the country. So it's not something that Miss Craig is just upset about. And I'm thankful to the Holy Spirit because I was not caught off guard. I was not surprised. Actually, I was prepared for it and waiting for it. Had packed my car and was just waiting to be checked out, or and whatever decision was going to be made that I've already knew was had been made. Come to find out that the letter of separation had been typed up on June the 4th, and it was given to me on June the 18th. You know, so it is what it is. You know, sometimes the devil tried to do things, but God already know. But like I said, I was invited to come to education and learn a lot, because the problem in our schools is there's a lot of mental health issues with our students, and most educators are not educated to handle mental health issues with the kids that we have, ADHD, defiant disorders, and different things, because of the parents that I was serving in clinic has some problems. Then their children have some problems. My thing with being in the classroom is I'm an old school person, and this is what I used to tell my kids all the time. I say what I mean what I say. There are some boundaries, and there has to be some boundaries. There has to be some non-negotiables. And so, and I'm firm on that. And so our world seemed to be going in a downward spiral, and nobody seemed to want to stop and really fix it. Those that are called to it get discouraged and run away from it and be silent. And so we're at a point now where we cannot remain silent. Just like they standing up to have these monuments replaced and taken down, then we're going to have to stand up and address this education breakdown, where kids are just numbers and ran through. And even though there's some good things that taking place, there are some things that need to be changed. And it's not that the teachers can't teach. Sometimes their hands are tied. One thing I learned real early in being in the school system is this word, be creative. And I tried to figure out, okay, how you going to be creative on things that are fact. And so, but anyway, I wanted to say that I'm not sure where this journey is going to take me, but I know that there is an advocate that is needed. Advocacy is needed so these children can know, so these students, because we start, especially with African Americans, we don't start trying to prepare for our future until we 12th grade. But you need to start planning for your future and planning on what you're going to be starting in middle school. They start testing our kids in elementary, but we're not guiding them until they get 11th and 12th grade, and then we start talking about, college career ready. And okay, college career ready, 11th, 12th grade, or you're one semester out from graduating, and then we want to talk to you about have you prepared for college. And our competition been preparing for college ever since they entered public school or private school. And me and Dolores, we had the opportunity to sit across from some people on Sunday, and this mother had moved from Highland Park to another area of Dallas so that she could enroll her son in a lower school so he could be in the top 5%, because money comes with being in the scholarships, and free dollars comes with being in the top 5 or the top 10. And a lot of this we don't know. And even those that graduate as the top person in our school, Oftentimes we give them a piece of paper and say, you know, you the top one or you the top two, but they don't give them the next paper that comes with that, and that's a letter to take to a college so that you can get some free money because of your ranking in the school. And so if a person get a piece of paper, say, I'm the top graduate, but what do that mean? Are we sharing that with the people when they get that paper? Are we making sure that they understand that you can go to any 4-year college, university, and get your tuition paid for? And so we have to educate our kids, and we got to educate our parents. And my theme for the last 2 years have been empowerment versus enablement. And this is one of the things that I learned in my study, because my study is in family studies and human development and rehabilitation counseling. And that doesn't mean substance abuse. That means any type of addiction, any type of traumatic brain injury, anything to keep you from doing your primary job, that you can transfer some skills and still make a living and be productive. And so this is the field of study that I'm in. And so I just know that change is coming. Change is coming for me. Change is coming for education, because there has to be a change. The change is coming for America. Not just what Donald Trump wants change to be, because the more we see abuse of power, and this is what, and I'm sure something that I shared with my students. Usually when I get a new classroom of students, I share the same speech. You probably can find some of my old students, and they probably can tell you the speech that Miss Craig gives every time she starts her class. Okay, and I started my class with, we ain't family, we ain't friends. They hired me to do a job, and my job is to make sure that you're ready and prepared for graduation. Okay, I'm not your enemy. I am here to help make sure that you're on task. Okay, and so and because of my age, and I say this for all of my religious friends, I will tell my students that Miss Craig may cuss, C-U-S-S, from time to time if I get frustrated, even though, I'm more educated than to use those words. But I have inherited my grandmother's words, and it's about 4 of them, and I'll go ahead on and put it on here: shit, damn, sit your ass. Okay, those are my words, okay? But I will never curse you, C-U-R-S-E, because I believe that every student that walk in the door is valuable and is unique and gifted and talented, and you can be anything that you choose to be. You may have to work harder, you may have to do more, but you can accomplish something. By you continuing to come, then that says that you want to be better. But you can't be lazy. You can't look for somebody to hand you out anything. You got to own your education. Okay? And so I'm here to empower you. I'm here to give you the tools you need to be able to govern your own education, so that if by chance somebody make a mistake, and this is the thing. And so this is what I would share with my students. And at a point in time, I would have their transcript. I would make them read it. I would make them fill out their graduation checklist so they would know where they were. Because you can't go anywhere until you first figure out where you are. Okay? And you need to figure it out. Anybody who wants to direct your life and not give you the tools to be able to know where you're going, that's enablement. That's control. And oftentimes when a person wants to control you so much that they got to micromanage you and sit on you and limit what you know, they want to keep you under their control. But if I teach you how to fish, you will never be hungry. Okay? And so this is what I do. And this is what I have done, and I will continue to do, is to empower people, because knowledge is power. It's like having money in the bank. You have a right to your bank statement. You have a right to know. You ought to know what you're putting in the bank. And if you don't know what you're putting in the bank, you don't know what you can take out. And so, and this is some of the things that transpires everywhere, all over the country. Okay. And so, because in my field of study, we talked about, especially in addiction. In addiction, there's different players in addiction. It's the person that has the addiction, and it's the person that enables the addiction. And usually when the person that has the addiction and owns up to the addiction and seek help for the addiction, their life changes, and those that have been the enablers loses their position. And sometimes it's hard for them to reposition themselves in that person's life because they still want to be the enabler. And so that creates problems. And so we have to make sure that when we get in recovery, you not only do the person with the addiction need to be in recovery, but the person who has enabled the addiction to continue or the abuse to continue, because there is abuse of power. Okay. And the Lord had made a statement that, you finally got some rest. And the thing about it is, I've loved my job, and I went to work every day loving my job. Okay. Because if I had hated my job, I would have been to quit, because I'm not gonna stay in a job that I hate. So I love what I do every day. Anybody can tell you. So I didn't go to work with a sad face or down and dragging. I went to work on time every day, actually early every day. And I stayed late, not just because I had work to do. Sometimes I just stayed and I supported the students in their actual extra activities because I loved what I do. I'm a people person, and bringing the best out in people. And this is another thing that I share with people, because most people don't know my story. And I shared with the students that Miss Craig graduated with a 3.9 from high school. No counselor, no principal, nobody in education pushed me to go to college or anything else. Okay. I went to work because that's what we did. My mother had a 6th grade education. We went to work. Okay. So she raised 5 kids by herself, being a single parent or being a divorced parent. My father was abusive, died when I was in the 5th grade. But all of these things, everybody had a story. Then when I was working at Texas Tech bookstore, somebody encouraged me to get into a program. I got into that program for substance abuse counselor, and I took that program. And when I finished that program, I had enough hours to start my bachelor's degree, so I stayed and got a bachelor's degree in family studies and human development. And then I went on and got my master's degree from Texas Tech Health Sciences Center. And so the reason why I am pushed with passion is because nobody will encourage you if you're not the right person. Some kids get help, some kids don't. But every student is valued, and I value every person. And so, but the thing now that I'm looking at is probably going back to clinic or going into some field that deals with this mental health issue, because it's in our schools, it's all over. And so we need to be able to identify these issues, and we need to be able to do something with them effectively. And we need to make sure that we are really doing student-centered. What is student-centered? If the student is not involved, if the student is not brought to the table, how is the student-centered? Okay? And so it will continue all over. And some teachers are just stressed out because we have unrealistic demands and quotas that we have to meet. And if you don't comply with those unrealistic numbers that you have to have, then you're subject to be let go. Uh, and it's nothing personal. Okay, it's just business. Uh, One show I really like is Undercover Boss. Undercover Boss, where the CEOs are really genuinely concerned about their business and the people in their business. And when they go undercover and they get jobs that they can't do as well as the people that's training them supposedly, they don't get irritated about it. And so I will say, I had to deal with egos. The big elephant in the room is ego. And if you have an ego and you got to be the top and you got to be right, and it's all about, your position and your power, then you're going to have that problem. And so therefore, and I will say this, and I'm still going to write a book. I don't care what nobody say. I'm going to write a book. That's what military people do when they leave the military. They write their life story and tell all the stuff that they couldn't tell while they was under, control or other people. And I'm going to be honest with it, because I learned a lot. I had some good teachers. I had some good instruction. So I learned from each one of them in different ways. And it has prepared me for what this next step that God is taking me to. I don't know where he's taking me. But he's taking me somewhere. Like I said, he took me from my path that I thought I was supposed to have been on, put me over here for whatever the purpose. And I know I've touched the lives of a lot of people, and I pray them much success as they move on. This last group of students have been really special to me, because a lot of them experienced that same change, a shift. Some things happened in the organization as a whole that caused, the tight rein to be necessary to make some corrections. And so these are the things, but I'm not one that's willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay, as some may be willing to do. And some are willing to throw the baby out and keep the dirty water. But I am firmly fixed of changing the water and making sure that the baby is safe and secure. So I pray that you would continue to pray for me as I move forward. And those are the things that I wanted to share with you, that it was just time. And over time, we will see how things develop. But I'm looking forward to writing this book, because I'm going to write the book. I'm going to write the book. I was thinking about writing a book 5 years ago, not only about life and education, but life and clinic, my life as a whole, how God has taken it and used it for in his glory, and continue to show me things. I'm preparing for a revival message for this Friday night in Louisville, Kentucky. And it's ironic that the title for the 2 nights is God Chose You, from Ephesians, the 1st chapter, verses 4 and 5. And God chose you. And that's a message to me. God chose you. And I have to ask myself, what did God choose me for? I must continue to walk in my purpose. I must continue to be guided by his hand, because he knows his plans for me, to do me good and not evil, and to bring me to an expected end. He has predestined me not only in the family of God, but he has also predestined me for whatever his plan is for my life, to be able to affect the lives of other people in a positive way. I'm mindful of a minister friend of mine that just left a traditional church because of her life choices, and because the church disagrees with her life choices. She can't even read a scripture. If the pastor say, can you come up and read a scripture, she can't even read a scripture in the church out the Bible, not making nothing up, just open the Bible and read it. But she said she could be the musician, she can play for the choir, she could teach a song to the choir and do the worship service, be the leading. That's what I'm saying. It's foolish. But the thing about it, and she left, and she's moving on. But you got to stand. Nothing will change if we just go away silently. It will continue. And the thing about it is, our children's and our children's children lives are affected by the things that we just silently walk away from. So, I will say this before I get up off of here. I commend Texas Can, and especially Dallas Can Ross Avenue, for their support of the LGBT community. I am a cross-dresser, transgender, whatever I'm seeking. I'm gender. I found this out from the Red Table Talk. I am gender fluid, and I commend them because they never have disrespected my choice of dress. They have never discriminated against me for my choice of being who I am. I respect them for that, and they have always treated me with respect. I want to commend them for their support of the LGBT young people, students that have come through their schools, especially at Ross Avenue. We have had several transgender females that have attended our school. And without a bathroom bill or a bathroom law, they always made it safe for those transgender people. And they was zero tolerance for any bullying of any of the LGBT students that attended their school. So that's why I will not throw the baby out with the bathwater. But there will be some things that need to be uncovered, that need to be changed, because it is still needed. We need free education, but we need to make sure it's education. We need to make sure that it's not control or abuse of power. And there has to be structure. There has to be structure, and I totally understand that. And so there has to be some changes, not just on the teachers, but there has to be some changes on the administrators. But if you know, and we seen this in Dallas not long ago on TV. There are superintendents that make large sums of money on yearly basis, but their districts and their local schools and their underdeveloped schools are suffering. But we have this money to pay $300,000 salaries and perks. But then where's the education on the foot? And so I'm praying for the foot soldiers. That's what I call them, because I'm a soldier at heart. And so I'm praying for the foot soldiers. And y'all pray for me. Okay? And so I want to be effective, and I don't know, maybe now it's time for me to move in that LGBT arena or whatever. I don't know. But whatever God has for me, I know it is for me. I thank you for encouraging me. I thank you for being supportive. And if there's anything that I could do for anybody, any students out there, if there's anything that I can do for anybody, for any of your children or your grandchildren, if there's something that's going on that you don't quite understand, and they're going to a school and you don't quite understand it, or you don't know what your rights are as a parent or as a student, if you don't know, you need to go on TEA website. They're always updating what the laws and regulations are. We are governed by TEA in Austin. So if there's something that a school is not honoring, that is a bill, that is a law, then you need to know those things. You know, we fought a little bit in agreement about the House Bill 5 and House Bill 3. If your student has taken the STAR test and the SB 149 bill, if you need anything that helps your student be able to graduate and move on, and you need my help, just contact me, and I'll be more than happy to give you the tools that you need to be empowered. Now, this is the last thing that I'm going to say, and I'm going to get up off of here. I went to the National Charter School Conference in Nashville, Tennessee a few years ago. And Roland Martin was up giving a presentation, and he made this statement that he didn't originate the statement, but he made this statement, and it has stuck with me. And I shared this with my students this year. Every time I would talk to them, we would have that come to Jesus meeting, heart to heart, so they would know really what they need to make sure that they are able to do for themselves. But this is one of the things I told them. I will not fight for you, but I will fight with you. I will give you what you need to be able to stand up for yourself, and I will stand with you. And he said these words: we will fight till hell freezes over, and then we'll fight on the ice. So I'm here to let you know, if anybody needs Linda Craig to help them with anything, I will fight with you, and I'll fight till hell freezes over. And after that, we'll fight on the ice. Meet you. Gracious. See you.